Welcome to my YouTube channel Ek Din Ka Raja. Accreditation and reaccreditation of the world's histopathologists is a recent advances question for postgraduates. There is a growing debate that passing an examination cannot prove competence to practice for pathologists. So historically, reputation of physicians were made by results and by personal recommendations, but not by exams. Let's understand the terminology. What is accreditation and what is reaccreditation? Accreditation is an old method which is very popular. The test is similar to final examinations for histopathologists, whereas reaccreditation is a new method. It's not so popular, but it promises to be improved without clear benefits of a primary qualification. So what is the aim of accreditation or reaccreditation for histopathologists? It is to test the competence to practice for risk-free society. You may be passed in distinction, but if you are not competent enough for practice, you may be harmful to the society. Okay, so the main aim of accreditation and reaccreditation is to test the competence to practice for risk-free society. So what are the basic requirements of primary accreditation? It defines entrance requirements and it approves training institutions. Prescribed course of study at that institution will be given. An examination to prove that training has been effective. A legislative framework to enforce the system for the benefit of the public rather than for physicians. So these are all the basic requirements. You need to have some entrance, then there should be approved institutions, and that institution should give some prescribed course of study. Then an examination should be conducted at the end of training. So complete legislative framework should be there to enforce the system for the benefit of the public. So that's what is happening now. We have an entrance, then we'll be selected into some institution, then we'll be completing our course. After completion of the course, we'll be going to our finals. So we have a complete legislative framework. So nothing to by heart. Whatever you're going through, you just headings. These are nothing but the basic requirements of primary accreditation. So what was the accreditation status in UK? Earlier, there used to be exam only in clinical pathology. Diploma in clinical pathology, which used to be organized by British Pathology Association. And the pass rate used to be 40%. Later on, they started including super specialties. Then they realized that there is a need for training system to cover the subject and also to give feedback to trainees. Then they started this aptitude test. Then finally, they have included RITA. RITA means Record of In-Training Assessment. This is how it has evolved. Initially, only clinical pathology and the pass rate was very low, only 40%. Then they started including super specialties. Then they have included a training program and later on aptitude test, then record of in-training assessment, RITA. So we have seen accreditation in UK. Now accreditation in rest of the world. American Board of Pathology and Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada. This gives definition of requirement of training program, regular and rigorous inspections, availability of subspecializations like cytopathology, dermatopathology, forensic, neuropathology. Subspecializations have training requirements and exit exams. So all these were there in American Board of Pathology and Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada. In Australia, scheme was administered by Royal College of Pathologists, Australia. Japan, they used to have 5 years of minimum training, which used to be concluded by examination, which conducted by Japanese Society of Pathology. So you have to remember institutions names which started giving training in which subspecialties. Okay. So remember America, Australia, Japan. That's it about accreditation. Let's see few points about re-accreditation. So it talks about recording educational activity of pathologist, testing pathologist knowledge, testing pathologist interpretive skills, testing pathologist diligence, peer review and appraisal. How they are going to their colleagues and they are asking for second opinion and all. It all comes under reaccreditation. So let's talk about recording educational activity. Continuing the competence of histopathologists, documentation of participation in educational activities like we participate in CMEs, conferences, etc. Central recording of points accumulated. So we'll be looking for which conference is giving more points. So that is also very important. Computerized diary of educational activity and needs called MOCOMP, which facilitates personal review of appropriateness of educational activity. So in recording educational activity, you can simply write what you're doing. You will go to conferences, CMEs, and you will try to gain more and more points. And you will record your educational activity. If you are a student, you will be writing in your records. Okay, those are all the educational activities which should be recorded. Step point in reaccreditation is testing pathologist knowledge. Demonstrating effectiveness of educational activity introduces the contentious area of testing. Attempts to devise proficiency tests, but it has limited access. The next area of reaccreditation is testing pathologists' interpretive skills. So what we have to do to look for this? We have to conduct an MCQ based test which tests the basic knowledge, but it may not include all diagnostic skills. And we can also go for external quality assessment, EQAS. They used to conduct it in Australia and US. Testing pathologist diligence. The primary accreditation, we have to look at what new practitioners can do, and sufficient time should be given to examine slides even for experienced pathologists. Public expects reaccreditation to avoid errors. Routine clinicopathological meetings, it constitutes the most basic form of audit. So even if you're experienced, you should give minimum amount of time in looking or examining your slide. Okay, whatever it may be. It may be a PAV slide or cyto slide or maybe histopath slide. You need to give sufficient time. Otherwise, you may land in giving some wrong reports. Your diagnostic accuracy will be reduced. So don't be overconfident. And public expects reaccreditation because we may land up in forgetting all the diagnostic criterias and all. So we need to improve our knowledge by attending more CMEs, conferences even after becoming a consultant. And we need to participate in CPCs, clinico-pathological meetings. So where you can learn from each other. So what is the future of reaccreditation? If we monitor only educational activity, it covers only a small part of reaccreditation. We can go for proficiency testing, but it is limited now. Assessment, audit and appraisal all are expressive in pathologists' time and other resources. Thank you.